Hello and welcome to another episode of Attacking Third, a CBS Sports soccer podcast. I'm Sandra Herrera, lead NWSL writer for CBS Sports. Joined today, as always, by my colleague and co-host Lisa Roman, broadcaster and analyst for CBS Sports. On today's episode, we have some news and notes to go through to update everybody. And we've got some midweek previews there where we have to make some picks. A couple of NWSL games happening early this week on Wednesday. Let's get into it. Before we do that, a quick reminder to watch all of our Attacking Third episodes, previews, recaps, interviews on YouTube. Subscribe to our page to get notified whenever we go live at youtube.com/Attacking Third. Back at it, Lisa. How you feeling today, buddy?
I'm better. Thank you to everyone who commented and tweeted at me and was like, yo, get a cough drop, girl. I got a cough drop. Thanks, everyone.
One whole cough drop.
One whole cough drop. I'm so good. I'm set. Thanks for checking in on me. Take care of yourselves. Get some rest, people. It's hard sometimes that people like my friends that don't work in this industry, like I talk for a living. Like I literally all I do is talk. And when I have a couple games in a weekend and then we record 4 times a week and I'm in meetings, like all I'm doing is talking. So drink your tea, drink your water, get some throat lozenges, everyone out there when you're chit-chatting. I'm getting better at taking care of myself. Don't worry. Soon, one day I'll be able to. But I'm feeling much better today. Excited to chat some soccer because midweek action happening in the NWSL. We got some U.S. women's national team news happening. We have a lot coming down the pipe, and I'm excited about it. How are you, buddy?
Anytime we hop on one of these and we're like, we're ready to do this. It's gonna be a super chill episode. It's like never ever the truth. That's just simply a lie, quite frankly, that we tell ourselves. You know, whatever gets us through, you and I through the day, quite frankly. And for you,
even we jump on here to like go live closer to 2:00, and now it's like closer to 2:30, and news is dropping, or our inboxes are blowing up, our Twitter timeline's going crazy. We're like, okay, hold off. We gotta write down our notes, shuffle some things around, and give it all to the people.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like again, whatever gets you through the day, whether it's like, you know, for you, one whole cough drop, for me, a random fall coffee drink, like whatever we got to do to get through it. And we're going to get through it together because we're all here together. Shout out to everybody joining us live. We appreciate whenever you take the time out of your day to link up with us. We're going to start with some of the news and notes portion before we actually get into a couple of the previews and make some picks, because we were actually super hyped about this news that dropped this morning. And there was some news that also dropped yesterday morning as well. So we're going to just chat a little bit about that collectively. U.S. Soccer announcing some of the final friendlies for the United States women's national team in 2022. Yesterday, Monday, bright and early, they announced that second fixture that's going to take place for the United States women's national team on their European tour. When they head on over to face England, they will also head on over to Spain and face the Spain's women's national team. So we're very, very excited about that. And then this morning, Tuesday morning, they announced their final friendlies of the calendar year will take place in November 10th and 13th. They're going to be taking place in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, at DRV Pink Stadium, in Harrison, New Jersey, at Red Bull Arena, where they will face Germany, the 2022 Euro runners-up. I was absolutely thrilled to hear this news. I thought I was already really like excited and hyped about like, oh wow, they're going to play Spain. This is going to be great for this team. They're going to go to Europe. So they're going away. They're taking a trip. It's another, bonding experience. It's going to be another challenge for the team, having to go against the Euro winners and then a really good team in Spain. And then they just absolutely blew me away with this announcement, because it's basically the number 1 ranked and the number 2 ranked teams, FIFA ranked teams in the world, who are going to be going head to head to close out 2022. I'm so excited for this and the United States women's national team.
I am so jazzed. I mean, when they announced England, I was super, super hyped. Oh, yeah. Then Spain, it was like, okay, it doesn't get any better than this. But now the fact that they're playing 2 matches in November against Germany, right? Number 2 in the world. USA is ranked number 1 right now in the FIFA women's soccer rankings. And Germany and the United States are the only nations that have won multiple World Cups. So Germany, they've won it twice. They're 8-time European champions. But these two sides, they haven't played since the 2018 She Believes Cup when US won. Yeah, and I don't know if you remember that game, Sandra, but it was in Ohio. US ended up winning that 1-0, but the weather was just crappy. It was horrible, horrible.
Was that the most memorable part of that for you? Was that the weather was terrible?
It really is when like the weather is just so bad at a match. And at that match in Ohio, the last time USA played Germany, horrible weather. So the fact that they're playing at Drive Pink in Fort Lauderdale, huge, because, despite it being November, you're going to get like not snow in Fort Lauderdale. Meanwhile, Harrison, New Jersey at Red Bull Arena, there could be some snow in November. I mean, we get it at that point, but this is such a big matchup between these two sides, and the last friendlies that the US will play before heading into a World Cup year, which is 2023. But Germany is a team that's lethal, right? They also coming off of the Euros, right, where they lost to England in overtime in the final. That was 2-1. Germany was without Alex Pop. She got injured during the warm-ups. This is a team that's can give the United States a run for their money. And frankly, that's what they need. US fans have been like complaining about, I'm going to say complaining.
Champagne problems.
Yes. Complaining about the competition that the US has been playing. And it's no knock against the competition that the United States has played in friendlies, but to go up against European champions England, then Spain, who's a top title contender, and then Germany, number 2 in the world. This is how you prepare for a World Cup. I'm here for it.
Look, I'll say it's a knock. I'll say that. You could say it's now. Look, when people, talk a little bit about some of the opposition that the United States has gone up against in 2022, I'm like, stop it. You're knocking. You're being disrespectful to the opposition. I loved those games against, when they went up against Colombia, and I loved watching every single match during the CONCACAF W championships. And quite frankly, it is disrespectful when anybody was just like, these aren't serious teams, right? Don't refer to CONCACAF nations as unserious to me. I'll clown you. So I just am like, but on the other side of that, like, I am absolutely thrilled for these matches because that was something that was coming out throughout 2022. These complications that kind of came into play for U.S. soccer when it came to trying to, nail down some opponents for the United States women's national team during this year in the lead up to the CONCACAF W championship specifically, right? It was like, oh no, it's like this team is not being adequately prepared. These aren't suitable teams or programs to go up against. And that was just a bunch of baloney, quite frankly, because they got some good challenges during that competition specifically.
Yes.
And, they ended up coming out on top. So I think maybe this for me, it's a good transition. I think when we're looking at these 23 players moving into the end of the year, I think it's a good transition for them. This is clearly a group that Andonovski and his coaching staff has been calling in and out of camps for quite some time. And they're looking for this next phase in the build up to the World Cup to start having these types of challenges. And obviously when things come into play, like navigating this sort of evolving pandemic and like trying to get on the same page with other programs to schedule things, whether it's overseas or visiting teams coming to the United States. It turns out it's worked out kind of nicely. So now they're going to close out their year, not just against one, not two, but three top 10 ranked teams in the world. So we're talking about, England, I believe, is at number 4, obviously Germany number 2. I believe Spain is at number 8. So the fact that you're closing out your calendar year with sort of, a trio of top 10 world ranked talent, I think is a kind of a good, transgressions of things for this team.
Yeah, so USA is number 1, Germany number 2, England number 4, and Spain number 8. So 3 incredibly talented teams to close out the year. That's huge, but it's almost a little bit more important that they're different teams, right? The United States is going to face very different styles. I mean, even when you look at teams like Colombia and Nigeria that the US has recently faced in those friendlies, like incredibly different.
How good was that second match?
Amazing. I mean, like Nigeria put the United States under so much pressure defensively. And yes, I mean, there's a million different ways to do that. But when we're looking ahead to these fixtures in October and November, what the United States is going to see from a team like England that is reigning European champions versus a team like Spain versus a team like Germany, they're incredibly different styles of soccer, right? Spain is going to be very, very technical. They're going to try to work through the midfield. They're going to try to be really crafty on the ball and move it around. Germany, they're going to look to possess, right? They're going to keep possession of it, be incredibly physical. A matchup against the United States, England might look to go a little bit more direct. They've got some really heavy hitters in that matchup as well. So that's something that, to me, it's not the name on the above the crest. It's not the country on the jersey that matters. It's the style of play and how that is going to challenge the US. And they've been challenged in a variety of different ways. And a lot of times we've talked about with these young players, if they're the US young players are going up opposition low defensive block, how do they break that down? What do they do? Now it's a whole different page because they're going to go against teams that are just going to run and gun at them and hit really, really hard. How do they handle that? How do they handle potentially going down in a game first and having to work their way back into a game, going up and maintaining a lead? There are so many different factors in this. And then, I mean, on the other side of it, I'm super excited to watch these matches. I mean, Germany, USA, like that's amazing.
Yeah, no, I sort of hearing you say like listening to you put a date on it, like a timestamp on it, like, hey, this is actually the last time that they face this team, and I was like, wow, that's quite some time between facing these two teams. So exciting stuff. I'm sure we're going to keep an eye on it. We're obviously going to be doing coverage of it. So everybody, again, stay tuned, subscribe, right?
For sure. And fans who want to see Germany play, they're coming to the United States. Get to Harrison, New Jersey, get to Red Bull Arena, get to Drive Pink in Fort Lauderdale, because this matchup is going to be a World Cup matchup between Germany and the United States, 100%. Because these are the squads that, obviously for the U.S., we've already seen that consistency from Vlatko Andonovski about which players he's bringing in, which lineup he's most likely going to continue to move forward with into 2023. And same goes for Germany. This is a literally World Cup matches being played on American soil in like 3 months.
Yeah, and you want to see those players go up against those types.
I'll be there. I'm going to get myself there. I'm like, wait,
I want to see
Lauderdale, Harrison,
dice.
I'll get there. I'll be there. I want to see this.
I know you're closer. You should definitely. We'll definitely talk about that off mic. See how we can probably get you there. Staying in the course with news coming out of U.S. soccer. We just wanted to note and keep our listeners up to date that on Monday it was announced by Sally Yates, who is leading an independent investigation into allegations of abuse and behavior and sexual misconduct in women's professional soccer, is nearing its conclusion. And it was a simple statement that also stated that a full report will be published by U.S. Soccer by early October following its completion of the investigation. So perhaps just a bit of a footnote in terms of an update of some things that are probably going to turn some eyes for sure. I would imagine an investigation that's been ongoing for the last year, quite frankly, will have some new updates. And I think folks should probably just get themselves in a mental state to go ahead and prepare to sort of receive that information.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a very lengthy investigation. It was said earlier this year by Yates that it's not just an investigation of the perpetrators and the people that did these things, but the system and the people that hired them and the people that worked around them. So it's not just the sole person that did this, but everything involving them to really get to the root of the cause to stop that. So it is a very lengthy investigation. I honestly like that they gave us a little bit of an update, because we had known that towards the end of this year we were most likely going to get those results, and now it's September, first second week of September, we're getting a check-in and they're like, hey, we're still working on this. October, you can expect some details, and that transparency is huge. I know a lot of people want that. They want the transparency to know kind of how this investigation went about, how it unfolded, and obviously what the results are. And then moving forward, how does this never happen again? To find the truth, make those changes, and then move forward and be better and stronger.
Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that for sure, and obviously you have to comb through it and be able to chat about that with each other and inform our viewership as well. But to sort of maybe pivot a little bit into perhaps a combo of USWNT and NWSL news. We saw a couple of things drop before we hopped onto this episode. Number one, congratulations to New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. They've extended their partnership with Red Bull Arena. So we're going to continue to see Gotham host their games in the great state of New Jersey. So congratulations to them. Lisa.
I am dying laughing at that. No, dirty jers all the way. I can only say that because I'm from Philadelphia.
Right on, right on. And another bit of news, we saw Tobin Heath posting to her personal Instagram what it looks like from a hospital, unfortunately, appears to have undergone a knee procedure. So we just wanted to extend best wishes, and hopefully she's on a quick up and up after that, because Rain made a move for this player. It was very, very cool to be able to see her make her return. Bit of a statement goal or two that took place for her and the Reign. Mm-hmm. That she joined up with Laura Harvey and the squad, and hopefully this will lead to the better things for both parties on the pitch here. So when there is more official news about that via the club, we'll obviously fill in the blanks there. But we'll see what happens moving forward for OL Reign, and let's make some picks, Lisa. Let's talk a little bit about NWSL action. There are 2 midweek games that are happening this week, tomorrow, in fact, if you're joining us live. And perhaps this is a good moment to make a little bit of a programming note, just to let everyone know it's the final month of the regular season. And that means there are going to be more midweek matches on the horizon. So if you're used to coming here and getting your previews, listening to us make our picks, doing recaps, that will obviously include midweek matches going forward. So you're likely to have more opportunities to hang out with us live and see us do more recaps with the midweek fixtures.
There's only 3 match days left.
Yeah. And those weeks are gonna include midweek matches.
I'm like shocked right now. I'm just like counting the schedule as we're on this live. I mean, I know
overwhelmed.
Yes, I'm 100% overwhelmed. Like, I know it is September. We know that the NWSL championship is the end of October, and you have to leave. If 6 teams make the playoffs, first 2 teams get a bye. You have to leave so many weeks for playoffs. And yeah, that means there's only 3 match days left in the NWSL. I'm completely overwhelmed because hopefully, I mean, like, most likely the match days played have like even out at this point, because the disparity was so large before, but right now all the teams are hovering around 18. That's like the average right now. We've got San Diego, Houston with 19, a couple teams with 17 matches played, Angel City, North Carolina, but overall it's 18. So it's not this huge games played disparity and having games in hand, because there's only 3 match days left. Crazy to think about, but I like the midweek action, and I like the games that we have to preview coming up.
Yeah, gives us some things to chat about whenever we link up in the middle of the week here. So there's 2 coming up on Wednesday. Let's start with this first one here. It's going to be North Carolina Courage versus Angel City FC. Lisa, let's make a pick. Who are you looking at in this one? We've got a couple of teams on the outside looking in, trying to make that push, trying to make that leap. You got a winner in this one?
First, I want to shout out Tyler Green in our chat. He says he lives for chaos. Yeah, ditto. See, that's why we're here, right? Isn't that all why we are fans of this beautiful game? North Carolina, Angel City. For those that missed our weekend recap that we did yesterday, you can go check that out. But North Carolina, they smashed Racing Louisville this weekend, 5-1. Yeah. It was incredibly dominant. We know that North Carolina can win the games, can put up goals, but they've also been scored on a lot. I mean, the goal that came for Louisville was an incredibly bad defensive mistake on North Carolina's part. So they need to tighten up defensively. Is this the match that it happens against Angel City? I sure hope so, because for North Carolina, they need to start picking up points. They've scored an incredible amount of goals, though. When you look over their last several matches, 21 goals scored in their last 6 home games, and they've picked up points in those. So North Carolina has scored 3 or more goals in 6 straight home games. And in that 21 goals of those 6-game homes, that is a record in NWSL single season league history. So they're breaking records. They're doing things. Davinia is coming off a brace. Caroline is coming off a brace and 2 assists. Caroline is only the second player to do that this year. Mallory Pugh did it as well, and only 5th in the league to do that. So have a brace and 2 assists in a game. Second meeting between North Carolina and Angel City, though. The first time, Angel City won 2-1 at home. That was their home opener earlier in the season. Now this match at Wake Med, Angel City coming off of a 1-1 draw to Houston. I think that the lackluster for Angel City is that they can't stay consistent throughout the season and then throughout a 90 minutes, heck, throughout 45 minutes of a match. Their inconsistency has been North Carolina's Achilles heel throughout this regular season. Meanwhile, North Carolina, they can put up goals and they can score. And because of that, I hope this one is like a crazy midweek high scoring game, but I still see North Carolina winning it at the end of it.
Yeah, maybe I'm very, very curious as to how this game is going to play out, because you literally have the number 7 and number 8 ranked team going head to head. And while there's some cushion between them in the standing, you're talking 26 points for LA and 22 points for North Carolina Courage. Things like this can still sort of have that feeling of a kind of a 6-point swing, right? Where you're sort of stealing points off of another team. And I don't know. I'm a little curious. I'm so curious about this game because I wonder if it's going to have those makings of a midweek match where it kind of shakes out very narrow and like in a draw, right? Or if it's going to have the potential to sort of be that kind of wild, chaotic fixture. And I'm also looking ahead a little bit for both of these teams, right? How are they going to target this particular midweek match, knowing that they have another quick turnaround on the horizon for them with the full slate of weekend games that we will preview at a later time, in front of them. So I'm full of curiosity.
Which are very big games. I mean, you're alluding to this, but Angel City, North Carolina play midweek. Then Angel City plays against San Diego. North Carolina plays against OL Reign. So they've got big.
Those are no slouches, right? Those are big opponents, right? That they're looking at in front of them. So I'm wondering if maybe we get that sort of kind of high competitive, like we need to get these 3 points now kind of energy, and urgency from both of these teams, because they are those 7th and 8th rank sort of teams, right? Looking ahead to the weekend. I know that, looking at something when you're looking at sort of the matches that these teams kind of are coming off of with that quick turnaround, maybe something like a home field advantage does come into play a little bit. You get to stay in your own bed and you get to sort of follow your own schedule still and just wake up and have your game day. So I am curious if the result of that big blowout result that North Carolina will have, coupled with the fact that they're hosting again, is going to give them that extra added oomph in this game. Maybe it will be the little bit of the X factor. I don't know if we're going to see Ordonez have an impact that she's had before in other games. She's been navigating a little bit of a shoulder knock that she took a few weeks ago, and perhaps that's something that she's still carrying. We've seen her kind of have a little bit of a different role, more just sort of creating space and generating pockets of space for this team, and not necessarily getting the goals, but that's meant other things for Davinia and Caroline. So I like the way they're playing right now. And I also like the way Angel City has some of their individual pieces. Simone Charlie has been incredible for this team up top. I like the return of Jasmine Spencer for Angel City as well. I think she can cause, some real complications for some players out on that wing. So yeah, while I'm going back and forth in the draw, I think North Carolina has more in this one, and I'm going to go with the home side. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout, though. I think it might be something like a 2-1 or a 1-0.
Okay, I like that. I like that you're putting numbers on it. Simone Charlie, you just mentioned her for Angel City. She's coming off a goal against Houston. I think that could spark something in her, right? I think she could get a little bit of mojo, a little bit of momentum coming from that. But when you look at these two sides, and Angel City and North Carolina, it being at North Carolina, I think that gives them such a big advantage. Do you think we'll see a lot of players rested in this midweek action, considering Angel City has San Diego this weekend and North Carolina has OL Reign?
That's a really, really good question.
At home, but North Carolina's at home, so that's also helpful.
I think if there's a coaching staff that has the that has the mentality of we should rest players for the game in front of us is going to lose this game.
All right.
I think we'll learn. I think we'll learn right away. If Rhea Coombe or Sean Naha says, "Hey, I'm actually resting some of my players for the game in front of us," they're going to lose that game.
I agree, because you need wins, and that's not a knock on the players. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's not a knock on the players. It's a knock on the mindset and the mentality, because both of these sides need to pick up points. We'll get into playoff implications and standings after we recap these games. I'll give you a little run around about what's happening, but yeah, they need wins.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. We'll see. I think we're both going courage in this one. Again, would love to be proven wrong. That's one of my favorite things when we come on the recap and we talk about how the other team came out and took it to the opposition. But let's take a look and make some picks at the next midweek match. It's going to be a central battle. Chicago Red Stars hosting Kansas City Currents in this one. Look, I love a good Midwest battle, and I love two teams who are sitting in the upper half of the table going against each other. We talked a lot about U.S. soccer and the games that they are, planning to close out their calendar year, and how I feel similarly in terms of watching NWSL and then watching global soccer. I think if you're looking at, top, 7 to 8 teams of the world versus like the top, 1 through 6 teams of NWSL, I think any of those teams can steal a win off any of the other teams. So that's why I'm loving these type of matchups, and I'm loving these types of matchups in the final month of the regular season, because they have these like layers of like playoff energy and urgency within them. But again, this is a midweek match, and I'm not too sure if we're going to get that same energy between these two teams in particular. It's something about those Challenge Cup Central Division teams when they go head to head. It's just like a weird energy. I don't know if it's the familiarity, and then you have the added layer of the quick turnaround. We saw Matt Potter bring off CC Kaiser, bring off Lola Bonta kind of in the hour mark, maybe having an eye on this match in particular moving forward. And then an even further eye, down the stretch, they have a quick turnaround to Sunday. After this midweek match, we'll see. Lisa, do you have a winner in this one?
So I'm not giving it away that easy. I got to talk first. I got to tell you what I want to see first. Yeah. So Kansas City, I mean, the fact that, as you just said, pulled off Kaiser, pulled off some of those big name players around the hour mark, I imagine that he was looking towards this midweek match against Chicago, because then this weekend they're home. Kansas City is at least home, right? They've gone from New Jersey to Chicago. Then they go home and they play Portland this weekend. So honestly, like it's tough. It's really tough on these two sides. Meanwhile, Chicago, they've got Kansas City, and then on Saturday, they're at home against Houston Dash. But Chicago's coming off that 2-2 draw against OL Reign. Kansas City, the late winner over Gotham, 1-0 in that game. Kansas City's on the streak, right? They're 13 games unbeaten. They're almost about to make an NWSL record, 16 games. So they're a couple away from that. But when you look at the history between these two sides, they were in the same group during the Challenge Cup. Kansas City beat Chicago in both of those Challenge Cup matches 2-1. Meanwhile, regular season, Chicago has never lost to Kansas City. So in league play, Kansas City cannot beat Chicago. 3 wins for Chicago, 1 draw. That one coming this year in June. It was a 2-2 draw. Chicago also defensively way better at home. They've allowed 6 goals in 8 matches when they play at SeatGeek Stadium. Chicago on the road, 18 goals in 10 matches. So defensively, Chicago does better at home. Okay. Kansas City on the road, though, they're not too bad. They've won their last 5 away games, and this is the
undefeated in 13.
Yes, but they've won on the road their last 5. They've won, meaning they've picked up 3 points. Do they extend that to 6 against Chicago? This would be the longest game-winning streak in single-season NWSL history if they get this win.
Nice.
This is very hard, though, because Chicago is a team that's getting players back. We saw the return of Morgan Gautreau. Will she get more minutes in this match against Kansas City? I sure hope so, because I want to see her. If Chicago goes out full force against Kansas City, which frankly they need to do, they need points and they need to do that, they will get this win. Otherwise, Kansas City is going to pull it out. but I honestly think it's going to be a draw. 100% midweek action draw between these two sides.
Listen, you like it. I love it. I was curious what would I issue draws to both of these fixtures, right? Are both of these games going to sort of have that midweek draw energy for me? But look, it's the final month in the regular season. Every one of these teams has anywhere from like 4 to 3 games remaining. That includes Kansas City, that includes Chicago. And look, it's the final stretch here. I can't go against them. Okay. I'm going Chicago and this one. They're back at home. They're returning to SeatGeek after what feels like 84 years. It has been so long. I think the last time they had a home game was in July. Now they're back at home in SeatGeek, where they have a bit of a better record against opposition this year. So they're better at home than they are away. I think if you're the coaching staff and you're looking at the matches ahead of you, you have to take a real hard look at where you can pick up points and where you can afford to drop points. And those margins are incredibly, incredibly slim. If you're the Chicago Red Stars in 6th place on this table with only 1 point of cushion between some of the other teams trying to leapfrog you into the final stretch. So I'm looking for, Malpew to hopefully have a strong game in this one. Bianca St. George's as well. These are 2 players that the coaching staff opted to sort of rest in that first half against OL Reign and bring on in the second half and try to take the game to the Reign. And it almost worked out for him, but they fell just short, ending up with that 2-2 draw. So I'm hopeful that there's something like an extended minutes for a player like Pio, a player like St. George's, whether that's a full 90, whether that's something like a 75 or an 80. We will see. I'm also curious to see if we continue to see some different goal scorers for the Red Stars in this match. We didn't see Pio get one in the back of the net against the goal ring that came by way of Ella Stevens and Danny Colaprico converting the penalty kick. So I would like to see that as well. I'd love to see somebody like Vanessa DiBernardo get one in the back of the net for this team. And I am also curious to see if Morgan Gautrat builds on her minutes. Is she somewhere to a full 15? And how do they utilize that, moving forward against a team like Kansas City? So we'll see. You got to draw. I got a winner. We'll see what happens in this one. I'm excited for it. Fingers crossed the weather cooperates and I get to make it out to this game and see it live.
I mean, Chicago's been on the road for, 85 years or something, but they come home and the weather just could be crap. So maybe they'll go back out on the road. Yeah, I mean, midweek actions though, it's so important. So I'm going to talk some playoff implications here with this midweek action as we talk about.
What does it all mean, Lisa?
Only 3 weeks, 3 match days left in the NWSL. So if Chicago wins, they move up 1 spot into 5th place. Potentially they could get to 4th place, but that comes down to goal differential. So I'm not getting into the weeds there. Kansas City, if they win, they stay in 1st place. If North Carolina wins, they will stay in 8th place. If LA Angel City wins, they jump 2 spots into 5th place. However, if Kansas City also wins, they'll only go to 6th spot. Now, these teams that are playing, Chicago, Kansas City, North Carolina, and LA, they can eliminate Washington Spirit. If Chicago and Angel City win during the midweek, Washington Spirit is eliminated. Otherwise, that's it. No other teams can clinch and no other teams can be eliminated. So we're at the point in the season where things are happening.
Things are happening. Listen, folks, I got you covered on CBSSports.com. If you need playoff standings and predictions, we've got a post that we update week to week, and you could just try to keep an eye on all the teams involved and where their standings are heading into the following match week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens out of this midweek match, and we'll be back to go ahead and talk about the full slate of weekends later in the week. Thank you all so much for joining us live.
Wait, I want to drop a programming note. Sorry, Sandra. Ooh. I want to drop something in here. I'm taking a couple days off, so I'm going to miss you all very much. Yes, I know. Get rid of that cough. I got to go find some more cough drops. But this has been great, guys. You're in good hands. Don't worry. I will be back soon, keeping track of our predictions and what we did. It's just a few days, nothing too crazy. But Sandra will hold down the fort here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how this all runs out, and I can't wait to watch this weekend and see what happens.
Yeah, everybody stay tuned for over the weekend and come keep me company because I'll miss Lisa while she's gone. So thanks everybody.
Keep her in line.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Make sure you keep a note of that programming notes in the future. Download, follow, and listen to us anywhere you get your podcast: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the places. Subscribe to us on YouTube to know whenever we go live. And Lisa and I will be back together eventually. Eventually, we will. In the meantime, for Sandra Herrera and Lisa Roman, this was Attacking Third.